Your first wedding gig as a DJ could either be this breakthrough moment, one of the best DJ gigs. Everybody's coming up to you, thanking you for being here. You get multiple weddings, multiple other events from that first wedding gig. Or it could be a complete disaster. One that you feel horrible about. You ruined the day. This was somebody's special day and you've ruined it, and it's one that you'll want to forget forever. And the difference, by the way, between this or that is not in the fact that you went and got a brand new controller, or that you have white speakers instead of black speakers, or that you've downloaded every song that has come out in the last 2 years. That's not what will make the big difference. The big difference is in preparation. Weddings are different than birthday parties, than club nights, than that Friday night that you're booking at that bar. There are no do-overs to this, even if somebody gets married again, right? There's nothing like this particular wedding. And you've got a bunch of friends and family that is also there, and there's a lot of added pressure into this situation. The last thing you want is to show up unprepared. You're dealing with a timeline. You're dealing with a couple, an event planner, announcements, special ceremonies, a variety of different guests at different age levels with different musical preferences. And above all of that, there is the pressure of this being this one-time event for you to get it right. So in this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips that every DJ needs to know when preparing for their first wedding gig. Communication, customization, and something I like to call Compadre. We'll get into it. Okay, let's write these down. So number 1, communication. Communication. Number 2, customization. You'll notice all of these are C's, right? These would be 3 C's. Easy way to remember this, if you look at the DJ Coach logo, we also have 3 C's in the DJ Coach logo. And number 3, I'm going to say compadre. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. Compadre. All right, great. Cool. Let's start with number 1, communication. Communication is so important. And I'm not talking about just communication between the bride and groom, which that is very important. You want to make sure that you're communicating. In fact, this actually starts before you even book the wedding. Generally speaking, the person who responds to the inquiry the fastest is the one that will land the wedding. Now, of course, you've got to be the right fit for this as well, and you've got to be able to communicate well and show your value, and obviously be able to build rapport with the couple, but your response time is important. So when somebody reaches out to you about a possible wedding, you need to get back to them within 24 to 48 hours. You should not let it go beyond that. And for anybody who is shopping around for a DJ, they've probably put this inquiry out to multiple DJs. I'm not here to create this fear or anxiousness around you need to respond right now, meaning you can't enjoy your dinner. And as soon as that thing pops in, you should be right on top of it. But you should be responsive and make sure that you're communicating effectively. Also, as you get closer and closer to that event, there are going to be multiple consultations. So you will need to have multiple consultations with not only the bride and groom, but also possibly the event planner, possibly some other vendors that you might be working with. And of course, day of, you want to make sure that you are communicating well with everybody that's there. Also be somebody who is of integrity, meaning that you do what you say you would do. So if you say that you're going to show up and load in at 2 p.m., you better be there at 1:45. Because the last thing an event planner wants is some curveball the day of. There's going to be plenty of those. As a DJ, we want to make sure that we are foundation, solid as a rock, and somebody feels like I'm in great hands with this DJ. You want that going into it. Throughout the night, the same thing needs to happen. There's a lot of communication that needs to happen. There's a timeline. Things may get pushed back. Things might get moved forward. What? Oh, you mean we're not doing the first dance? Okay. And you have to be flexible enough to really roll with it. And that also is about communication, right? So later on, I'm going to talk about like what will help with that communication, which is actually our number 3, Compadre, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Number 2, customization. I'm not going to mention any names, but I have some friends in the industry who have done well, relatively well, as wedding DJs. And I've overheard some different conversations, and maybe these were a little bit more private conversations, but I'm going to bring this to the table. Again, I'm not mentioning any names, but I do know DJs who reuse the exact same playlist from wedding A for wedding B, and the same playlist for wedding B for wedding C. I also know DJs who have taken other DJs' playlists from wedding A and then applied that playlist to their wedding A. Newsflash, a wedding should be customized. This is bespoke. That's another term, bespoke, that gets thrown around in the wedding space, right? Like, this is a special day. Very few people want something that's just off the shelf. I'll take number 2, right? Like, no, you want this to feel like your wedding. You want this to feel like your special day, and music plays a huge role in this. So I know that that might seem like a shortcut, or, oh, wow, this is how I'm going to save extra time. I'm just going to use the same playlist for every wedding and just copy and paste. That's being lazy. And honestly, if you're going to be a lazy DJ, especially when it comes to weddings, at some point in time, this is not a threat. This is just the truth of what it is. Somebody's going to come along that is willing to put their heart into that wedding, into that event. And I would rather have the DJ with heart than have the DJ with all of this experience who is really kind of phoning this thing in. So I think it's really, really important that you look at this from a one-off event. This is the first of its kind. This is the only of its kind. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't also bring in, songs that you've played before. I'm not saying that you have to completely start fresh, but I don't think that you should just rinse and reuse, right? Like, that's not the right move. And sometimes this is going to come from really asking better questions as a DJ. For instance, in your consultation with a bride and a groom, what if you said, hey, so how did you guys meet again? Oh, you met at UCLA. Oh, okay. Are there also going to be a lot of your friends who went to UCLA with you at this wedding? Yeah, actually, we've got a ton of our friends coming from UCLA. In my mind, now I'm thinking at some point in time, I might need to go into an 8-clap, which is like the fight song for UCLA, right? Like, that's specific to what that is. Also, through this process, I've now found out that one of their first dates was an Ed Sheeran concert. Okay, now I'm getting more information. I'm finding out like songs that actually mean something to them. Another great question you could ask to both the bride and the groom, like, what type of music did you like to party to, like, when you were younger? Like, with some of the friends that might be here, are there any songs that stand out? Is there any song that maybe, means something to any of the bridal party? Oh, yeah, me and my maid of honor, we did this whole choreographed dance to Janet Jackson Rhythm Nation, like, when we were in 8th grade or whatever. And you're just like, oh, okay, noted, right? Like, maybe I'll pull that out at some point. I think there's also other ways to create customization. There's also other ways to create customization, not just only in the dance floor section of what it is that you do, right? Usually with a wedding, you'd have cocktail hour, you'd have, dinner potentially. You'd have these other moments that are happening where music can be programmed. So while maybe that Ed Sheeran ballad isn't the right fit for a dance floor, maybe adding that song in to dinner and being able to play that during dinner or during cocktail hour might actually be the perfect fit. Okay, last but not least, I made this work. I kind of use this other C, compadre, right? Or friend, a companion, somebody to bring with you. You should not do a wedding alone. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Do not do a wedding alone. That is a recipe for disaster. And some of you might be like, but coach, like, I'm not going to pay this other person. You should pay this other person. Or at the very least, maybe there's somebody that is willing to do you a favor. But I really think that you should pay the other person, even if that means that you're taking them out to dinner and that's the form of payment. You do not want to do a wedding alone for a lot of different reasons. Number one, because there is this floating timeline and because all of this needs to be communicated, you need an extra set of ears, an extra mouth, an extra set of hands to be able to handle all of those different things. If you are in the middle of mixing or making an announcement, your compadre, your assistant, your friend that has come with you, who doesn't have to be a DJ, by the way, bonus if that person is a DJ, but they don't necessarily need to be one. But that person can be having the conversation with the event planner while you're making this announcement or while you're mixing the next song in and being able to get that, right? And be able to get that information. The other thing that your compadre could be doing is they could be walking around the venue as you're playing, checking to make sure that everything sounds right. Make it, again, being another set of ears, another set of eyes, and just an extension of who you are. A good assistant, a good person that would be able to assist on this is somebody that also is personable. They are an extension of you. Do not bring your friend who is antisocial. Just because they can set up speakers and they're strong doesn't mean that they belong at that wedding as your compadre, right? That person also needs to dress the part. They can't be there with sweats and a beat up t-shirt walking around the venue of this, beautiful event, right? So that person is a full extension of who you are. And so you've got to be able to manage that properly. But the other situation I was going to say is by having an extra person on hand, if you ever needed, let's say, an extra set of batteries or you needed something, like that person could run out and go get that while you stay there, right? You never want to leave the venue, especially in a wedding scenario, right? Because anything can go wrong, anything can change, and you don't want to be that DJ where it's just like, well, where is the now where did the DJ go, right? You don't want that. Somebody should always be there. So even if you've got to run to the restroom for a moment, right? I mean, everybody does at some point. Even if you needed to run to the restroom for a moment, you would have somebody who could hold it down, who could stay there, so it wouldn't feel like you've just abandoned your post, right? This is why this is super important. And then above all else, probably the biggest reason why I'll give you why you should have a compadre on hand, not only because they're another pair of ears and eyes and all of that, but because it's actually way more fun to share this experience with somebody else. Keep in mind, as a bonus, this person can also be grabbing content while you're playing. They're able to grab photos, videos, things like that as well. And after the gig, this is one of my favorite things. After the gig, well, breaking down isn't, but that they would also be an extra set of hands for when you're breaking down at the end of the night. But now everything is broken down. It's in your car. You're driving home. That's one of my favorite times, is having that conversation with a friend who was there at the event with you, and you're able to laugh and joke about like some of the things that went down. You're able to reminisce on that and recall some of the things that happened, some of the high points, some of the things that were weird. You're able to do all of that with another person there. And that, I got to tell you, DJing is a team sport. For those of you who are brand new to DJing, or you haven't been a DJ for too long quite yet, understand this, please. Like, yes, you see one person up here DJing, but this is absolutely a team sport. And so I just want to encourage you. I congratulate you on saying yes to your first wedding. It's going to be awesome. Just make sure that you take the time to fully prepare and follow this list of the 3 C's that you need to have. This might turn into a series because there's a whole bunch of other things that probably require some extra explanation and for me to go in depth with. And if you're interested in hearing more about this and more ways to prepare for your first wedding or your first gig, comment below. I want to thank you for joining us here. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you like and subscribe, and then check out this video as well that I think will really help you out. I'll see you on the next one.